And Neil Davidson, Canadian Press, welcome back, both of you. Jesse, with your opponent trailing 1-0 and on the road, are you expecting a different Suriname tomorrow night? Or more of the same?
No, I think that they will be rather pleased with their match plan, right? And the fact that they kept us contained for a lot of the match and we weren't able to find ways to get more goals. I think they would feel pretty good about some of the things they did. Maybe we'll be ready for a wrinkle or two. They went to 5 in the back at the end. So they could try a couple of things, but I think we'll be focusing on us and now making sure that we have an aggressive start, that we go after the game from the start, that we bring our fans into the match, that our mentality and mindset is to go after the game to get a win and not to just preserve a lead.
Yeah, Sports Connect was with the away goal in effect, without giving away tactics, of course, but wouldn't that change the game, the way that you're gonna play it the second leg?
Yes, obviously it's important. We know we have a lead. We know if we keep a clean sheet, we're through. So still having defensive stability will be important. But again, I want to reiterate, we will be aggressive, right? We will go after this game to win, not to just preserve the lead.
Jesse, great to see you.
Yeah.
Some areas that you'd like to clean up on Friday, what would they be?
Well, we talked a lot today about set piece situations that we feel like we can be much more organized. I took some responsibility because I don't think last week we did enough preparation for that with because the Friday we've had in these windows since I've been the coach, we've had more Saturday matches, so an extra day. And I felt like I didn't do enough to prepare the team for those set piece situations. But we also talked that as a group, we can do more and we can do better. So that'll be important. And then, I think we commanded the game in all phases, but we're still also trying to clean up a little bit of some of our ball possession tactics, and then a final third, execution and ruthlessness in front of the goal, so that'll be key. And obviously Jonathan plays a big role in what we do around the goal and how we score goals and how we create chances. So he'll be really important, I think, again on the night.
Just to follow up, Jonathan, how was Friday in terms of the pitch and the humidity down there? What was it like in terms of it being a bit more different than you would be used to playing here?
To be fair, it wasn't too hot, even though Suriname is a hot place. 8:30 kickoff, so it wasn't too hot, and the turf wasn't so bad. I think obviously on a couple of bounces it's hard to judge, but apart from that, I think the conditions were not too bad. Obviously the game was difficult. We played a difficult team, very physical team that had a game plan set, and yeah, it made it difficult for us.
Jonathan, obviously this competition is only going to be a maximum of another 3 games for you guys. As a group, do you feel the opportunity to win a trophy starting to come into view?
Well, obviously we know there's a trophy at the end, but I think we're not looking too far ahead to that. I think we're focusing on getting the job done tomorrow, and then we can start looking at the semifinal, then the final. But none of that happens if we don't win tomorrow.
Basil. Jonathan, this group was in this position a year ago, almost identical. You come home off a goal and it didn't work out. Has there been talk about what needs to change from there at all, or is this kind of a new chapter, new opportunity?
I think you always learn from the past, but I think we try to not focus so much on what happened in the past, because it's a whole different team, new tactics, new style of play. So I think for the same scenario to happen is not impossible, but I think we prepare for these things, and I think we'll go into the game knowing what happened last year and make sure it doesn't happen again.
Chris?
Jesse, just returning to the set pieces for a second. They're kind of a sexy part of the game right now, if you will, with Arsenal's success with them in particular. I know you have a part-time set pieces coach, I guess we would call. How comfortable are you coaching set pieces? Did you work on them today?
Yeah.
Do you see them as sort of a trendy kind of thing, or a fundamental part of the game that you'd like to work on?
No, to be fair, I value set pieces a lot. And my teams have typically been good in that area and creative. And one of the challenges overall is just with limited time with the team, probably that's an area that we haven't dedicated as much time to. You're right, we have sort of like a part-time set piece coach. The plan will eventually be to hire a full-time set piece coach by next year. But, you know, I mean, we've still put a fair amount of energy into the organization of what we want to look like defensively. And we feel like we're a strong, big athletic team, and that we should take pride in the fact that if we can become a really good set piece team, it will boost our chances to win in big moments and in big games. So the guys understand that, and now it's just about the execution, right? Good service, aggressive movement, intelligent understanding of how to be dangerous and be active in these times. So we're trying to always build on it. And we actually, the funny thing is we felt we complimented the group because we actually thought Panama, our mindset and mentality and our aggressiveness and our service in that match was quite good. And we felt like that was a step in the right direction. And maybe I relied on the fact that was a good performance and that we would be able to build on it, and didn't build enough into the week for preparation. But I feel like our preparation has been good this week, and we should be able to be effective tomorrow.
Thank you.
Jesse, just a quick question on a couple of players. One on Ali Ahmed. How big of an important player has he become for you? And particularly now as teams start to sit deeper and you're going to have more possession and you can show different aspects of the way that you look.
Yeah.
What's Ali been like for you in his versatility?
Yeah, well, I think Ali is one of our best pressing players. He's one of our smartest players in terms of understanding the tactics and then what we're trying to do in all phases of the game. And now we're also encouraging him to be a little bit more ruthless around the goal and finish things off cleanly. If he can add some goals to what he's doing, then all of a sudden, his overall effect in matches can grow. So, but he's been really important for us, no doubt.
And just to follow up one on Oso as well, he seemed to calm it down a little bit when he came on and control the game a little bit more. It's a home stadium. He's getting up there in caps. How big has he been, and how much of a pleasure is it to work with him?
Yeah, I think in general, he's adapted and been excited about how we're playing. And he's been, his positional flexibility, his intelligence, his experience, I think they're all things that add to what we do at any times. He's also, I think, been really good when we've used him off the bench. And for sure, him and Kyle coming into the game, first of all, what a pleasure for a coach to bring in two guys like that to help the match. And I thought that they really helped get control of things. They were organized. They were clear on what we were trying to do, how we were trying to push the game. And in general, Oso for me is a big part of what we're doing. And I think everybody understands that.
And just one more quickly,
Yep.
sorry. This, obviously you don't want to look too far ahead of this game, but the rankings out of this game are based on these games.
Yeah.
If you find yourself in a position second half where you know that you've got through, do you keep an eye on that as a way of trying to get that ranking, or do you just let things fall into place?
So how it will work is there are two matches tonight, right? And we'll be able to look at those results and kind of know where we stand. I haven't even discussed it with the team yet because I just want our focus solely on winning this match and having a good performance. But obviously there will be special scenarios that if we can control our fate and by what the scoreline is and by making sure that we're on top of not letting anything slip, then we'll obviously look to try to take advantage of that. But that in these scenarios, first of all, to expect anything but another tough performance from Suriname would be very foolish and naive. So we're not even talking about that. And second is, once you get to the semifinal, if we're lucky enough to get there, that those games mean a lot to everyone involved in the tournament, and it's going to require full effort, no matter who the opponent is. So, we'll be analyzing what the strategies will be, but in the first line is only concentration on making sure we take care of the match.
Jesse, when you talk about wanting the team to be more aggressive from the start, is that tactical, pressing, mental, or all of the above?
No, I'm not saying more aggressive. I'm saying aggressive, right? So last game we were aggressive from the start. I thought we played with urgency, and the whole match was under control, right? Really, from a tactical and mental perspective, we were very good. So it's not being more aggressive; it's staying aggressive. I want to be clear on that. That's what I mean.
Jonathan obviously carried a lot of the load offensively since Jesse came in. Do you feel that pressure to produce every match, especially with the form you're in right now with Alphonso Davies not in camp this week?
Oh, no, for me, no pressure. I just try to play my game, and if I can score or make an assist, create something for the team, that's my job ultimately. But no pressure at all.
Question for the two of you, Jonathan. The absence of Kyle allows you to take some different space, and that was something that we saw in the match. Did you enjoy having a little more freedom in that game against the opposition that you did, and then to come into this match, perhaps in the same type of setup, but to be able to play a little differently than we've seen you for Canada recently?
You mean playing a bit deeper?
Well, just I felt as though you were able to occupy different space on the pitch against Suriname in the absence of Kyle being there to play deeper and occupy.
To be fair, I don't think it really changed anything on my positional play that Kyle started or not. I think just the way the Suriname were playing, obviously they were man marking me, so I had to move in a lot of different spaces to try to find space to be effective for the team. So that's why maybe I was moving a lot more around the pitch than normally you would say. Yeah, so that was the reason.
Yeah, I mean, we do use Johnny differently than how Lil uses him, for example, right? Like, now, I've said this a lot about Johnny publicly, internally with us. Like, he's the smartest player I've ever coached, and so his understanding of what's happening in the game and how to move around to find the game in the right way to help the team, I think, is at a really high level. And the team knows that getting him in the match is really important for us. So, I saw somebody put something out how Johnny's been involved in almost every goal that we've had, and I'm not surprised. And then we try to give him a little bit more flexibility to be part of more than just finishing plays, because I think he's really valuable to our team in more ways than just scoring. Even you and I have had the discussion. I'm like, are you good with, do you like how we're using you in this role? What do you think? And he goes, I mean, look, he doesn't ever complain, right? But he goes, yeah, I like it, so, and I think it does maximize the effect that he can have in the game, which is part of the buildup, more part of pressing, more part of counter pressing, more part of like being more than just standing up front to score goals. And I think the relationship he has with Kyle is obviously a very good one. He's also now continued to develop relationships with Shaf, with Ali, with the midfielders, and they all know that getting him into the match is important for us. And I think the role and way we use him, although it does take him further away from the goal at times, it still means that he's able to have a big impact on matches for us.
Sorry, just to follow up with Jesse's response there. What's your reaction to being called the smartest player he's ever worked with, given some of the players Jesse's coached? And do you feel like you've taken another step in your career and with the form you are, not just Canada, but Lil as well?
No, obviously it's a big compliment, and of course I appreciate that. And yeah, I think this is a part of my game that I try to work with, because obviously I'm not the biggest, fastest guy in the world. Obviously, there's people that are faster than me, stronger than me. So I have to use my intelligence in ways to get in smart positions.
And sorry, just the second part, do you feel like you've taken a big step in your career this season with the form you've been at Lil, what you've been able to do in the Champions League?
Not really, to be honest. I think the biggest change has been that I've been scoring in the Champions League against these big teams. I think this is the biggest difference, but after that, nothing else.
Jonathan, your success at Lille in Canada has prompted a lot of speculation about your future. No doubt you have people looking after that, keeping you in the loop, but is it easy for you to stay in the moment when all of that, when the future, the question marks over that?
For me, fairly easy, to be honest, because I don't really focus on these things. I think what I do on the pitch is the most important thing, and this is what will get me to the best level that I can be, really. So for me, very easy.
Two more online. John Molinaro, go ahead.
Thanks, John. Hi, Jesse. How much will squad rotation come into play tomorrow, just given the fact that it's 2 games in 5 days on 2 different surfaces, 2 different climates, and a fair bit of travel involved as well?
Yeah, no, there are clearly some challenges to the week. I think the team has come through it really well. We played a fairly young team to start on purpose in the last match to handle the heat and everything, and the turf and everything else. the guys who are a little bit more experienced coming off the bench, I think had a big effect in the game the way we needed them to. So that was good. And I think that strategy sets us up to maybe make a couple of changes with some of those players into this match. The extra day compared to, like, for example, the US to Mexico or some of the other windows that you have where it's Saturday, Tuesday has also meant that guys are feeling pretty good. But we surely want to put a few players on the pitch to make sure that the level of urgency, fitness, recovery, everything, it means that we can deliver another good performance, but doing without sacrificing some of the understanding and structure and continuity that we've had in the group overall. So yeah, we'll figure out what we do with that balance, but there will be some rotation of players for sure.
And the last question, Alex.
Awesome. Hey, Jesse. Hey, Jonathan. Just a question for you, Jonathan, kind of following up on some of the talk about you playing as a 10. We know with Lille, even when you're at a 9, you do drift into those spaces, you drop a bit deeper. What are some of those differences you notice when, maybe you're playing more purely as a 10, you kind of have that freedom in between the lines? Just, kind of take us through some of those differences you notice is that underneath player versus when you're leading the line?
Well, obviously, as a number 10, you always know that there's people higher than you. So it allows me to play more facing forward, if you can say, as a difference to when I'm playing at Lille as the lone number 9, when the play is in front of me and not everything, but most things are playing backwards or sideways. So for me, this is the big difference.
Look, I think we could play Jonathan at center back and he'd figure it out. So he's smart in the way he moves in the game. He's very clear with what his role is, no matter what kind of match plan we create. And it's there are challenges to playing club and country in both directions, right? Like there's a lot of guys that we ask to do a little bit different things than what they do with their club. And we're asking them to be smart enough and clever enough and then commit to what we're doing here. And I mean, Jonathan, I think, is one of the best cases for how to do both effectively. But we've got a lot of guys now that I think are at a high level, getting smarter, getting more intensive, getting clearer, and growing in their careers, and certainly within what we're doing in this national team. So it's exciting for me as a coach to be able to work with such people.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good job, Jonathan.